Root, TLD, and authoritative servers belong to a hierarchical distributed database structure that provide the DNS service. Now, let's examine the process of name resolution in this hierarchy. This process could be done in two ways: iterative and recursive. Let's first discuss the iterative process. In the iterative process, each contacted server replies with the name of the next server to contact. Assume a host at cis.poly.edu wants IP address for gaia.cs.umass.edu. It first contacts its local DNS server. If the local DNS server has an up-to-date record in the cache, that record will be returned to the host. If the local DNS server does not have an up-to-date record, it will contact the root DNS server. The root DNS server observes the .edu suffix and therefore returns to the local DNS server the list of IP addresses for .edu TLD servers. The local DNS server then contacts one of the .edu TLD servers, which responds to the request with the IP address of the University of Massachusetts authoritative DNS server. The local DNS server contacts the authoritative DNS server and receives the IP address for the host name requested and returns it to the requesting host. In the recursive name resolution, root DNS server takes the responsibility of contacting TLD and authoritative servers and returning the response to the local DNS server. For example, again, if a host at cis.poly.edu wants IP address for gaia.cs.umass.edu, it first contacts its local DNS server. If the local DNS server has an up-to-date record in the cache, it will be returned to the host. If the local DNS server does not have an up-to-date record, it will contact the root DNS server. The root DNS server in the recursive process notes the .edu suffix and directly contacts the .edu TLD itself. The TLD DNS server finds the authoritative server for the umass.edu and contacts it directly. The authoritative DNS server responds to the request of the TLD server with the IP address. TLD server returns the response to the root DNS server, which in return sends it to the local DNS server. A local DNS server provides it to the requesting host. Recursive name resolution sometimes is not allowed. This might be due to different number of reasons that include DNS attacks, DNS cache poisoning, unauthorized use of resources, and root name server performance degradation. Can you think why recursive name resolution is more vulnerable to these problems than the iterative name resolution?